Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan. A day after inauguration, I feel much like I did the day after Election Day. It's a very sobering day. We can take a look at that now.
Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan. The talk of the day is the petitions for secession. 75,000 people in 20 states petitioning the federal government. Now, talk radio, people like Glenn Beck, they're actually talking about these people as though they're crazy. And I don't think they're crazy, but I think that, first of all, they're wasting their time. If anything, they should be petitioning, if they really want secession, they should be petitioning their state legislators, because it's the legislature's job to secede if anybody's going to secede. You want to secede from the Union, then you move to another country and give up your citizenship here. That's seceding from the Union. But this is a little bit askew. But you can go back to my video blogs at YouTube for the past year. I've been saying that Obama has diligently, he's step by step, from the day he took office, he's positioning himself as the second coming of Lincoln. In so many ways, it's bizarre, from, obviously campaigning in front of Lincoln's banners in front of the state house where Lincoln served, equating himself to Lincoln through even his first presidential campaign, to being sworn in on Lincoln's Bible at his first inauguration, having the same menu served during his inaugural dinner as Lincoln had during his inauguration. I mean, it is blatantly obvious that this guy is trying to make parallels between himself and Lincoln. There's no question about that. So it is obvious that he is doing everything that he can to force state secession. But it isn't time for that. And where I think the ideas are askew is there are people that are angry and they want to vent. But we don't want to secede. Nobody in the right mind wants to secede from the United States. Just like our founding fathers, it took years trying to redress the grievances. They exhausted every possible avenue that they could to avoid declaring independence. I mean, loyalists to the crown, many of our founding fathers were, until the last minute, when they realized, like Ben Franklin, I mean, these were people that did not want to secede. It wasn't like some popular, we're going to get revenge. No, it was a very sober thing. I have no doubt that secession is going to happen, but it's not going to happen because we're mad we lost the election. It's going to happen when the states when the legislators in states have no other choice but to, in order to protect their citizens. When Obamacare, for example, over the next year or two really starts kicking in. I mean, we haven't seen anything. And I think, like Glenn Beck, no doubt he'll come around. He just is underestimating the gravity of the situation. When Obamacare starts kicking in over the next couple of years, you're going to see things so egregious that people never even imagined possible. I mean, we're talking about now whether doctors or Catholic hospitals, doctors at Catholic hospitals should be forced to, or any Christian hospital, or any hospital for that matter, that anybody should be forced to prescribe the abortion pill. Now, that was the biggest thing that we saw during the campaign, but we're not talking just pills. I mean, that's a big deal. That's murder that they're being ordered to essentially commit as doctors. But it's not just going to be pills. You're going to see evil, an outpouring of evil like you have never seen or imagined. You're a doctor, you're going to be forced to perform abortions with your hands, not just pills. This federal government will require you to perform abortions. You will be asked to kill, euthanize adult human beings, the elderly. We hear the UN commercials. We know what kind of depravity and sick minds these liberals are. You are going to be asked to marry homosexuals. You're going to be required to marry, to perform ceremonies to marry homosexuals if you are a pastor, a Christian pastor, because those homosexuals, even though they despise your church, they're going to come into your church for that purpose. They will sit through, they will join, they will make your church, they will desecrate your church, and you will be required to either bow to the idol or be thrown in the proverbial fiery furnace. So what are you going to do? So we can make fun of people who are petitioning for some reason as though they could secede from the Union on behalf of their states without their state legislature and governor having something to say for it. But that's besides the point. You can ridicule them now, but what are you going to do when they come to you? Are you going to perform? Are you going to violate your conscience? Are you going to disobey your God? Are you that cheap? Are you going to kill the elderly? Are you going to kill the babies? This is just scratching the surface. I mean, I'm giving a few egregious examples of what is going to happen, but things that we can't even imagine now are going to come into place here over the next few years. So you're not going to do it, and your state, if you're smart enough to live in a state with a legislature that are still God-fearing and willing to take a stand as sovereign states, the Constitution gives them the authority. The federal government is the one that seceded. They seceded over the past couple years from our Constitution. We have the moral rectitude, and the states will not technically be seceding because they will be standing for what the Founding Fathers promulgated in 1776 and ratified in 1781 at the Constitutional Convention. So you could call it whatever you want, but the federal government will be attacking. And your state, if you live in the right states, amongst the right states, will defend you. Now, these people that are quote-unquote seceding in New York and other states, Pennsylvania, don't delude yourself, people. You can sign all the secession petitions you want, but you're living in Sodom, and they're not going to be protecting you. So if you want to live in a state where the legislature has the moral rectitude, the moral conviction, the backbone to stand against evil, unmitigated evil, it would be like people who stood against the Nazis in World War II. If you want to live in a state where you can stand, come here, come to the South, because I'll tell you what, your state is not going to help you. Your state is going to hand you over to Caesar, to Nero. Something to think about. The federal government is the one that seceded. They seceded from the Constitution. Let's not be delusional. Soon enough, these people in talk radio will be saying that they predicted this well in advance, when it becomes mainstream enough for them to blaze that trail.
This president, Barack Hussein Obama, has, from the day that he first ran for the state legislature of Illinois, had no other purpose in his life, no other intention, but to devote his life to the destruction of the United States of America. He is the most formidable enemy of our Constitution that we have ever faced, because, as our founding fathers and as Lincoln had predicted, if destruction should be our lot, it must come from within. And this man is destruction. I have no contrition in saying that this is the most evil, intentionally evil force against which we have waged any sort of battle in contemporary history. Barack Hussein Obama has intended from day one to force secession. He is taking us to the point, intentionally, where Christians, God-fearing people, Christians and Jews especially, will be forced to either bow to his idols, to bow to Caesar, to bow to Nero, as I said in the video, and reject your God, to deliberately defy the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Jesus Christ. We will be required to deliberately defy him by Barack Obama, or to stand firm. And I'll tell you what, he really elucidated that further in his speech yesterday, as he said what he said about pushing, in no uncertain terms, homosexual so-called rights, forcing us to give approbation to homosexuality, to sin. And I said in that video that there will come a day where you, as a Christian pastor, if you are a Christian pastor, you will be forced to marry homosexuals, or you will be fined, or perhaps even put in jail. And that is coming. He made it clear that he wants to see homosexuality accepted in all 50 states. This is no surprise to me. This is what I predicted, because he is a pseudo-Lincoln, an imposter, just like Antichrist and anti-Lincoln. He has made every possible effort to correlate himself to Lincoln from day one, to give media the useful idiots like Brian Williams and David Gregory and Andrea Mitchell, the sellouts, Chris Matthews, the people who betray our country, the noble, ignominious people who history and posterity will judge as treasonous as they are. But no doubt he is giving them all the ammunition that they need, and Hollywood, to make these ridiculous comparisons, to brainwash the ignorant and informed voter. And he is going to bring it to the point where he is going to declare, he's going to make his own pseudo-emancipation proclamation, pretending to be some Lincoln-esque character, as he has always planned. And he is, as we've seen him exercise and further condition people to accept, bypassing Congress and making proclamations, unconstitutional assertions and declarations of law that are completely treasonous. We have seen him preparing, setting the table for that. And it's only a matter of time. He's getting practice. The gun thing, just like he's planning on banning guns altogether, he is also planning on making an emancipation proclamation to, quote, free the homosexuals, as though their plight, these poor people who want nothing more than to marry other people who like anal sex, he compares their plight to that of the African slave. As disgraceful as that is in itself, that's a whole other issue. These are the things that we're going to be dealing with, and it could not be any more clear. We've seen, Obamacare hasn't even gotten started yet. We've seen the issues with the abortion pill, where they want to force Catholic hospitals and other doctors to provide it, even though it's against their conscience. You haven't seen anything. You wait until he declares that you, people in the medical field, have to perform, not just providing abortion pills. Wait till you have to perform abortions, when you have to murder children by your own hands. It is not going to be equivocal. There will be no ambiguity. What it's coming down to, what this evil person has in store for us, there will be no ambiguity. You will have to do evil. You will have to compromise everything. You will have to defy God in order to obey his pseudo-law that is treasonous and unconstitutional from the beginning. So why are we predicting this? Why? Why should I bother saying that this is coming? Because we should have been preparing for years for this fact. And if we weren't deluding ourselves, we would be further ahead than we are. We should be gathering the states, the God-fearing states of America, need to work together in preparation for what's coming. We are, the minority. We have lost this country. There are not enough people, moral people, to take a stand who would not look on with approbation to anything that Obama does. They would, whether it's taking people to a concentration camp or putting them through the firing squad for not bowing to his idols, for standing up for the laws of God. Many of these people are so barbaric because of sin. They have been so desensitized in this country. They will look on with commendation and praise for anything that this evil SOB does. So people, we are, like I made a video several months ago talking about the state of our youth, the indoctrinated youth. We are in a situation where we are facing a generational war. There are several fronts, several wars. One of them is a generational war. We have lost the youth. As we have seen, those under 30 have voted overwhelmingly for Barack Obama. And then there's the single female. We cannot win a generational war. There's going to be horrible atrocities. These people are going to be euthanizing left and right. Once that leak is unplugged, the floodgates will open, and there will be an onslaught, not just of abortions, but killing the elderly. It's coming. And the only thing that we can do in this to win this generational war is to coalesce within certain God-fearing states where our numbers, where we can have the youth as well, because there are good youth out there, but their numbers are low compared to the national population. But there are God-fearing youth out there. We need to coalesce. We need to be in certain states where we have strength. We cannot afford to any longer assuage or mitigate the degree of evil that Barack Hussein Obama represents, that he fully intends to bring upon us, and quickly. The floodgates have opened. The second term, he's going full force. He has demonstrated that. This man, just because he's charming, Lucifer was the most beautiful angel in heaven. There's an old saying that says the greatest trick that the devil ever played was convincing the world that he didn't exist, because he doesn't want people to see the guy with the horns, the ugly. People don't embrace obvious things that are ugly. Satan makes evil look beautiful, and nobody is better than that in this world right now than Barack Hussein Obama. And I have no contrition about saying that. That I believe full-heartedly. If you look at his deeds, if you look at everything that he supports, it is pure, unmitigated evil, and nobody delivers it as well as he. And it's no different. I mean, aside from all the facade and the flowery rhetoric, I've said this before, if you look at the old video, watch this video, going back to Rambo, of all things, you look at how the communists were portrayed in that movie, in that film, and there's been many other films where you see the communists torturing the Americans, literally torturing them and killing them, and you see the evil in them. And there is a reason why they were portrayed that way. There's a reason why Ronald Wilson Reagan referred to the Soviet Union as the evil empire. There's a reason why the evil Chinese are evil, because of the body parts that they harvest of their dissident prisoners, people who simply want to stand up for freedom and basic God-given rights. The person who stood in front of the tank at Tiananmen Square stood against evil. It's something that we have forgotten, but there is a reason why they've been portrayed as evil. It's because their worldview, their beliefs, their fundamental beliefs are evil by very nature. They defy human nature. They cater to the base instincts, the lowest angels of our nature.
You may scream. There is no shame. Strong, very strong. Strongest so far. But you're nearly dead. For what? Make the radio call.
They seek to enslave mankind. They seek to prop up an evil few, like your George Soros, like your Warren Buffett, and like your Barack Obama and his puppet masters. They seek to enslave the rest of you. They'll be meeting in Davos. We'll be hearing about that. These world summits where they plot globalism. And Barack Obama also promised to enslave us further by pushing global warming agenda, which, again, all the science contradicts it. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, because he has his useful idiots to help him enslave America. His useful idiots, his shameless, despicable, his human pathetic excuses for human beings like Andrea Mitchell, Brian Williams, David Gregory, Chris Matthews. He will help. He will use, despite all the scientific evidence, despite the fact that we're getting warmer weather now because there have been eruptions on the sun, and any real scientist knows that that has affected our weather and caused warmer weather. Despite the fact that that is causing warmer weather on Jupiter, that doesn't matter because these are evil people, the very type of evil people depicted in that movie who were torturing poor Rambo. They will do nothing less to you. That I have no contrition about making that comparison to Barack Obama. The only difference between Barack Obama and those evil people in that torture scene are that he is much more clandestine. Let's deal with reality, people. It's time to get together. It's time to act fast. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan.